Hello, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. And real briefly, I'm going to be talking about Roland Martin and the cancellation of his show, News One Now. As I listened to him announcing the cancellation of his show, I made note of some things that he said that were very significant. Now, any of you who have followed his show, he's had some very hot topic subjects on the show. And his platform basically dealt with issues relating to our people. Now, the important statement that he made that really let me see what is truly going on is one of the reasons for cancellation. The show was canceled because they wanted to cater to a more diverse audience. In other words, someone has been tickling someone's ear and have indicated that possibly he's too over the top, he's too radical, he's too controversial, and that he doesn't appeal to a general audience. So let me ask you this. Now, I know most of our people don't feel that way. Is there any other network that struggles and fights to try to appeal to our audience? Take Fox News, for instance, and even Tommy Lauren's show, The Blaze, before she was fired from there. These people did not care how we perceived anything that they were reporting in the news. They did not care. They continued on with the pot shots and the racial undertones, and in some cases very blatantly racist. And Roland Martin, on the other hand, although you may not agree with every topic that he's covered, he was dealing with mainly the issues in our communities as so-called Black people, so-called Israel, you see. And so now News One, or should I say TV One, has decided to cancel his show because they want to appeal to a more diverse audience. And so that's going to leave some without employment, in which I'm pretty sure they'll be able to find employment elsewhere. He has indicated that his voice will not be silenced, that he's going to continue to fight for the Black cause. And what I say to that is I applaud him for that, but there comes a time when you say to yourself, are we as a people going to heed to our own cause? Because someone else shared a post earlier to where other groups, other racial groups, they really fight for their causes tooth and nail. Even if no one else is there to fight with them, they're fighting for their cause. But for us, we're fighting against our own cause. We have so much fighting and bickering among us that people like Roland Martin, they begin to ask themselves this question, just like Claude Anderson. He said, am I fighting for the wrong team? He says Claude Anderson said that he's been fighting for Black folk for more than 30 years. And he's now questioning, has he been fighting for the wrong team? Because nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, we are getting worse as a people. And so although I may applaud Roland Martin for his dedication to fighting for our causes and giving us a voice, and even though he's going to continue to give a voice, even if he has to use social media platforms solely, you have to ask yourself, when they get to cutting shows just because it's not appealing to a broader audience, this is catering to, yet again, what mainstream media wants. They want you to cater to their cause. That's pretty much what they're saying. And put a few sprinkles of the Black cause in there. Cater to our cause and mention a little bit about yourself. You see. And they also want to be able to promote what they want to promote. Look at BET. When it was owned by so-called Black people, it's not that it was the best of programming. I'm not saying that in any way. You see, because there were lots of programs that I felt were very demeaning and degrading to our people. But what they did in taking ownership or buying BET from Black hands is they've said, look, we're going to pay this man off, and we're going to ensure that the programming stays exactly with exactly what it's doing, which is programming so-called black people to be the bottom of the barrel. When you look at some of the programming that comes across, there is nothing that I would say, I haven't seen anything on BET recently, so maybe some of the programming has improved, but what I have seen in different snippets that I see across the internet, because we don't have cable, the different snippets that I see is still the same thing, the same negative programming. And I already know that a network that was just catering to nothing but positive black college students, black businesses, positive black role models, anything like that, it would tank within a year because our people don't want it. Our people are not interested in seeing a group of young black children going off to college. As a matter of fact, they will start hating on that group of black kids and saying, oh, do you think you're better than me? Or who does he or she think she is? We are actually our own worst enemy. Our enemy has set the stage. Enemies without have set the stage to where they no longer even have to interfere much. I mean, there's still interference. This is why our people are going through this whole Roland Martin show being canceled because they want to appeal to a broader audience, a more diverse audience. But for the most part, the stage has already been set for us to not even want to self-improve as a group. When you look across social media, whether it's on video websites like YouTube, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, regardless to what social media site is, all you see is a pack of Negroes fighting each other, complaining about one another, taking pot shots at one another, have no love for one another, celebrating the death and the judgment of one another, talking down on one another. And when I say talking down, I'm not speaking about bringing the word of correction or the word of truth, but I mean literally talking down on one another. The sisters talking down on the brothers talking down on the sisters, so much hate back and forth to where a positive black network wouldn't last either. And a person such as Roland Martin, even though he gets support from the black community, from black viewers, it's not enough. They said that there's not enough revenue being produced from the show to sustain the show. You hear that? Anything that's specifically slated for the building up or the improvement or the helping of so-called black people, there's not enough funding. Interesting. Very interesting. And the beat goes on. It's very interesting how things play out and how things happen in this world, but it is what it is. And when you look around, it feels like a hopeless position because you have enemies without that hate us and try to cripple us. You have enemies within, which means our own people fighting against each other, trying to cripple you. But everyone is okay allowing those demonic spirits to lurk about in their brain, which causes these breakdowns within our communities to where nothing seems to work as it relates to unification. Even when someone such as Claude Anderson, I remember when he was trying to get with, I believe it was Barton Cable. This is when we lived in Michigan. And I believe Michael Jackson, they were all trying to get together to get some sort of theme park in an area right now that has been taken over through gentrification. They have taken over the city of Detroit in many areas, you see. And so it seems to be going from bad to worse because our people just don't get it. At the end of the day, it all falls back on our shoulders because there are things that we refuse to adhere to. There can be no unity if there's no unity in the spirit or in the Ruach. As long as you have some people who are operating under demonic spirits, some people that are operating on a self-influenced spirits, and some people operating under the spirit of the Most High Yah. As long as you have all these different spirits that people are operating under, you're not going to have unity. I don't care how many people dress alike with their uniforms, with their camp gowns and their camp uniforms, their purple colors with the gold and blue and gold, black and gold, whatever it is. That's not unification. Those are people dressed in uniforms. But that's not true unification. You see, unification in the Ruach is what we need. We need to be on one accord in the same spirit and the same mind. If we begin to do that like the Church of Acts, it says, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all together on one accord in one place, and the Ruach HaKodesh filled the place. See, the enemy couldn't penetrate that environment. He couldn't penetrate that environment because there was too much power there. But the reason why the enemy is able to penetrate our environments collectively as a people is because the mind space that you have in your brain, within your soul, is occupied with wickedness. And so you're looking at your brother and your sister from a distance or up close in some cases, and you can't stand this person. And you don't even know why. And you've given yourself into the deeds of demons that are using you. And so everything, it seems, in the so-called Black community will continue to fall apart and fumble. And it seems like those who have the wherewithal to help so-called Black communities, such as the BET network, had it within their hands to do so, but they were an enemy among our own people. TV One had it within their power. They were already doing it. But the dollar signs, instead of trying to explore other avenues of generating income, they now want to squash Roland Martin's show for more diversity. So, as I stated before, the beat goes on. The same thing continues to happen where we are our own worst enemy, chipping away at our own foundations, and at the same time thinking that we're accomplishing something. The majority of so-called Black people that are out here doing anything, most of them don't really have a heart of love for the community of Black people. It's just not there. And it usually plays out in one form or another. And so we will continue to see things such as this taking place. It is very sad to me, and it's not that I was this super fan of Roland Martin's show, but it's sad to me because I see what is happening on the grander scale. Within our communities, starting from the least to the greatest, from the smallest to the biggest platform, there is massive division. And it will continue to be this way until the return of Yahushua HaMashiach, because there is a spirit, a demon that has been assigned to the so-called Black community. And most people don't even realize that they are not speaking with the voice of Yah or the voice of reason or the voice of community or the voice of unity. They are speaking with the voice of self, which is being guided and directed by demonic forces. Okay, family. With that, I will say shalom.